Today we will be discussing the squat and how to perform the movement. We will be touching on the three different stages of learning in Fitz and Posner's model: cognitive, associative, autonomous. It is a crouch or sit with one's knees bent and one's heels close to or touching one's buttocks or the back of one's thigh. The goal of performing these exercises is to have the athlete reach the autonomous stage. The autonomous stage of learning is the most advanced stage of Fitz and Posner's model. There are no cues necessary. We are to provide a spot to the athlete only when necessary, coach only specific and obvious mistakes that could cause injury, and allow the athlete to fix all other mistakes and improve form on his or her own. When looking at critical elements of the squat, we must focus on three domains: the upper body, the lower body, and the movement mechanics. In the upper body region, we must discuss the head position, thoracic position, and trunk position, trying to align and to keep a straight posture. For the lower body, we must focus on the hip position, the knee position, and the foot position are the most important parts to stay square and to get depth. The movement mechanics, we also must pay attention to the descent, the depth, and the ascent, as we lower slow, raise with force, and get nice and deep. Fitz and Posner use three different stages of learning. The first is the cognitive stage and is for the beginners. These athletes need instruction of learning and to be introduced to the skill itself. Next is the associative, where the athlete already understands the skill. We must help the athlete to correct their own mistakes with minimal help from the coaches. Finally is the autonomous stage. These athletes are proficient in the skill and understand their own mistakes without any input from a coach. We decided to use the rec center as our learning environment. The decision of the student rec center is because it is cleaner, nicer facilities, a safe environment. During the day is a non-intimidating environment for the beginners, and it is also a great choice for students because it is free and convenient location. The first athlete was the cognitive. We filmed him from three different angles to allow maximum approaches to coach the athlete on his form. At first we see that he has staggered feet, very fast on the descent and slow on his ascent. This is the complete opposite of what we are trying to achieve. He also has a bent back, which not only does it minimize the amount of squatting that we can perform, but it is very easy to get injured. After a few reps, we pause to coach him, attempt to fix his form, allowing him to feel the differences. When working with athletes of different levels, each level and ability is going to need a different amount of feedback. The largest amount of feedback was given during the cognitive stage. The cognitive stage, we wanted our athlete to learn the fundamentals and basics of squatting. The athlete was informed about the depths he was reaching, the placement of the bar on his shoulders, and the placement of his feet. For the athlete in the associative stage, we decided to not give as much feedback to the athlete. The feedback was more detail-oriented. Since this athlete was at the intermediate level, there was a reduced amount of errors. We focused more on refining the movement pattern and wanted the athlete to perform the squat properly and consistently. We also encouraged the athlete to begin correcting his own errors. For the autonomous stage, we essentially gave no feedback. The athlete was performing the skill without conscious attention, and the athlete was able to correct his own errors.
Alright, so slide your right foot forward so you're parallel with each other. Alright? And now I want you to look up when you go down. And we're going to try again, see how it goes. Stop for me. Okay. That's good. All those were good. I just want you to get a little deeper on the squat, okay? Just a little bit deeper. Try to hit 90 degrees with your knees. There we go. You go just a little bit more. There we go. Alright. I think that's good.
After watching and listening to Daniel coach Caden, we now see that he has straightened his feet up. That is one of the most important parts of the squat because it gives you the nice firm base to begin to add weight on. We now see his depth is still shorter, so we go ahead and ask him to deepen it again. Now that he has a nice square base, a deeper depth, and he's keeping his eyes up, we can re-perform the squat. From the front, we can see he has square feet, his knees are pointing forward, and he's keeping his eyes and chest up as a very key component to watching the squat. From the side angle, we can see that his hips are getting deeper. He's becoming at a 90-degree angle, which is one of the most important parts of staying low in the squat itself. From the back, we can see he stays very still, keeping a very firm base. He's not moving all over the place, which is one of the key implements of adding weight. Once we get to the stage where he's able to do weight, he won't be lopsided to spill it. When working with the associative athlete, we see that he has a square base, his knees are pointing forward, he has a good depth, and his chest is up. We can see that the bar is unlevel, but the goal of this is to have him realize it himself. When working with this autonomous athlete, we must simply just take notes and observe his form. We're looking for key pointers in his feet, his depth, his chest, and his eyes. The reason for this is so that we can take notes so we can see any transfer from any other skills to any other skills that he could be using in his sport. This athlete can perform this lift very well, little to no assistance, and minimal coaching. The coaching itself that we must look for is anything that could be used for injury. That way we can prevent it and keep him healthy as long as possible. This athlete gets a very good depth from the side. We can see that he is below 90 degrees, which is actually as deep as we want you to get. That way you keep your balance. From the back, we can also see that he keeps a very square posture, as well as keeps the bar nice and even on his back and sits very deep into the squat, pausing to emphasize the depth that he can reach. We work with students individually compared to all working on the same task at the same time. This allowed us to watch each athlete at their own pace. Then when advancing weight, we could individualize the workout based on the needs of each individual athlete. We had the cognitive and associative stage athletes both increase weight, while having the autonomous stage athlete increase the amount of reps given in a certain time frame. After talking with each athlete and taking note of their previous abilities, we went ahead and added some extensions to their workout. That way they can increase their abilities and try to reach the next level of Fitz and Posner's model. With the cognitive athlete, we went ahead and added weight. From the front, we can see that he still has a nice firm base and an upright chest. On the side, we can see with the weight that he has added on, he gets a nice depth as we see the crease in the hip showing the 90-degree angle that he has. He also keeps that upright chest, which is very important, and we see that he is now exploding out of the lift itself. From the back, we can see that he keeps his eyes and head up as he looks through the mirror. We can also see how he keeps a nice firm base and is very confident in his abilities of squatting now.
Okay. Yeah, I see what I did. I need to even it out more. I leaned a little bit to one side.
For our autonomous athletes extensions, we went and gave him a set amount of time for a set amount of reps to perform. We told him that he must perform 10 reps of squat in 30 seconds. Something that seems so simple to us can be more challenging when you actually have the thought of the time in mind. From this angle, you can see the timer as well as his squat is performing. We see that he keeps his firm base, which is a very important part. That normally when people move faster, they get rid of all form. He also keeps his chest up, his hands in the same place, as well as keeping the weight level on both sides, being ensured not to tip because that can upset the bar, and as you add more weight, it can cause serious injury to your traps. Overall, the training went very well. There were 3 of us in this project, and we all observed the athletes from different angles. From the 3 of us observing from different angles, each of us were able to detect different lifting errors because of the different viewpoints. Another part of the training that went well was how we approached each stage of learning. We developed each lesson plan specifically for each stage of learning, which helped our athletes improve on their skills. One area that we could have improved on would be the selection of the gym where we train the athletes. If we were able to do this project again, we would possibly choose a more quiet gym so we were not forced to yell so loud for our athletes to hear our coaching. There are many benefits to learning how to properly squat. One obvious benefit is how weightlifting can keep you in good shape and can contribute to you living a healthy lifestyle. Another benefit is how it is important to learn the proper weightlifting techniques, because if you are not lifting with proper technique, you are putting yourself at risk of injuring yourself.